Hello, and this is part 2 of my analysis of Songs in the Key of Life. LP 2, or side 3, begins with Isn't She Lovely, which I've already spoken about as a companion song to I Wish. It wasn't a single in the UK. It was covered, I think, by somebody, don't know who it was, in about 1977, because I can certainly remember it being on the radio the whole time. It was played to death. It's about Stevie's daughter, Aisha, and you can hear the lyric that life is Aisha, the meaning of her name, which I think Aisha means happiness. Song sounds better on vinyl because the CD is overly bright and sharp, and I've yet to find a system that can play it properly, really loud, in other words, without tearing your ears off. Okay, so then we're on Joy Inside My Tears. That needs a really good system because there's some beautiful sliding bass in there, and you just won't hear it if you're just sort of playing it on a tin pot thing. Okay, it's a nice song, but it's about 3 minutes too long for me. That's what I've written in my little notes. Okay, now Black Man, which is the third track on side 3 and the final track on side 3, is a really iconic track, I think. So I'm just going to read you verbatim what I've put in my little notes here about it. So I've called it an iconic track. It's about equality. All have contributed to America, but the message comes through in the middle 8. We pledge allegiance to the colours of the flag, but the flag, i.e. the powers that be, don't recognise the real colours of humanity. In other words, it's not recognising our colours. Okay. About halfway through, a class teacher, in quotes, asked the class to name those people of colour who have contributed important things to American civilization and civilization in general. Most of the responses are men. In other words, the system treats men of colour like doo-doo, basically. But just before the song fades out, our attention is drawn to a black woman, i.e. true strength there, because if the men were treated badly, then women were treated even worse, and therefore you're finishing out with, beg your pardon, who was the woman who led countless slaves to freedom on the Underground Railroad? Harriet Tubman, a black woman, and that is what you're left with. A true picture of strength, even though that would have been probably one of the lowest of the low in American society at the time. It's not my opinion, it's just the message I'm getting really from that song, and the fact that that is the last bit that you hear. Okay, now we're on side 4. You've got a song called Es una Storia, I Am Singing. I just think that's a pleasant song, no more, no less. If It's Magic, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Just play it, it's lovely. And then we've got a song called As, which is, it was covered by Mary J. Blige and George Michael a few years ago. And it sounds like the lyrics could be just a love song, but it's the rap at the end of it which turns it not into a love song as such, but Stevie Wonder expressing, spirituality and praise, really, because it's like, I'll be loving you always, and as sure as 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 is whatever, I'll be loving you all the time. But then you get this this sort of challenge, I suppose, as to what that love actually works out as, and a lot of people, especially, I don't know, it's a horrible thing to say because I don't mean it in the good sense, I mean it in the bad sense, that you do get some Christians, I suppose, that are that sometimes like to think of themselves as in the world but not of it. And the challenge of that, if you're going to say that, then he's reminding us that it doesn't mean criticising the morals of the ungodly, but actually doing something purposeful to relieve the hell that is life for many people. Okay. And the rap actually goes, we all know sometimes life's hates and troubles can make you wish you were born in another time and space. But you can bet your life times that and twice its double that God knew exactly where he wanted you to be placed. So make sure when you say you're in it but not of it, you're not helping to make this earth a place sometimes called hell. Change your words into truths and change that truth into love. And maybe our grandchildren and maybe our children's grandchildren and their great-great-grandchildren will tell, I'll be loving you. Okay, so there it's actually meaning really, and it's harking in a way back to Village Ghetto Land and Have a Talk with God, because there you can interpret Have a Talk with God as meaning come to Village Ghetto Land, that's where God is, that's where you've got to work out that truth that is expressed in the rap part of As. Very, very clever. Very, very deep. Okay, that's all I'm saying on that. Okay, and then we've got Another Star, which is the finale to the album proper, and it's an up-tempo workout. I think it's possibly comparing the love of God with the love of a human being, the latter being more fallible, in Stevie Wonder's opinion. But I think that the sort of la 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 la, you'll have to forgive my out of tune singing there, but I think that is just absolutely captivating. And although you could dismiss it as being repetitive, you've got to get yourself involved in it. And as it builds and builds and builds, particularly towards the end where you've got a flute improvising over the top of it, it's just an absolutely stupendous way to finish that LP. It is a shame that it fades out though, because I would quite like to have seen how they ended that. But brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Now the EP, I think, is again, it's got 4 of the catchiest numbers on the whole LP, and really shouldn't have been shunted to an EP. I think they should have been, included a bit more on the main album. But anyway, you've got Saturn, which is like an alien pointing out the foolishness of human ways, and Stevie Wonder is actually daring to say difficult things here. At the time, this was the late 70s, people weren't as environmentally conscious as they are now. Everyone is trying to win a few political points by being greener than the next person, and he was daring to say that in the 1970s, and also criticising those powers that whose solution to peace is war, as he would say, and full marks on him for saying it. It has a bit of a slushy tune to it, and in it, it's I suppose a bit like Imagine by John Lennon, where you have this beautiful piece of music which is actually making or sugarcoating a very hard message to swallow. Okay, then you've got Ebony Eyes, which is just very playful, and reminds me of Would you like to wish on a star, follow moonbeams home in a jar, or whatever it is. But brilliant song nonetheless. I like it. And that might be what I post up here in the next day or two. Okay, turning the EP over. EP actually plays at 33 1/3, which is, at least you don't have to change the speed of your record player after you've played the double album. Okay, All Day Sucker uses the vocoder to great effect. The vocoder is the sort of thing that gives this sort of, you sing into it and it tunes your voice to the keyboard and also makes it sound like the sound that's programmed on your keyboard. Okay, and it's doing All Day Sucker for your love, all day sucker then for your love, like that sort of thing, except in tune. And it's also used to great effect on things like Under Attack by ABBA and Do You Believe in Life After Love by Cher. Okay, and then you've got a lovely instrumental called Easygoing Evening to finish you off. Okay, and I just think it's a brilliant album, just to conclude really, a brilliant album, and go forth and listen. Bye.